Say the word artist or use the word creative, and immediately people's mind goes to painters or sculptors, actors or songwriters. Part of being human means that every one of us self-imposes restrictions on how we interpret the world around us. Boundaries and restrictions establish rules to how life works. Boundaries can, and often do, preserve order, and order is good, and boundaries can most definitely protect. Imagination, however, is perhaps the last true frontier, relieved from the pressure of restriction. Imagination is a place where order can be set aside for wonder. Meet anyone who has skill and craft, and you'll find not far from them, just in the distance, is an unbound imagination.
I guess the craziest thing I ever welded is I helped a guy build a whiskey still. I brazed a lot of copper fittings in some tanks and stuff for him, and helped him get it together. Really, it was just some old barrels, and we just brazed some fittings in them for him, and he did all the plumbing and stuff on it. But we put the fittings in all his barrels and tanks. Some were stainless steel, some were just regular old tanks. I never tasted the whiskey. I never swapped any work out for any whiskey.
The Mississippi Delta has its own sense of wonder. Artists, poets, musicians have forever labored to capture the eerie magnetism that comes from the heaviness found in the Delta. The swamps hold stories of life that birthed music forever etched into America's playlist. The history of the Delta is as rich and storied as the fertile dirt that provides some of the best seedbed ever found in the world of agriculture. That same dirt has a story of its own, with its own brand of pain, oppression, and rebirth. And it was into this Delta landscape that James Cotten was planted and emerged as a native Mississippian.
Which splitter?
Believe it or not, when I was 4, I started learning and fiddling around with welding. My dad taught me. And I'd start welding and get my hood down, and kept doing that till I got my eyes burnt and learned my first lesson. Then when I was 6, I'd done my first job. I got paid for it. I welded a hammer handle and a hammer for the stir station next to our shop, and he let me swap it out with a sack of candy and a game of pool. We would do a lot of welding for farmers. We had extended out a lot of equipment from 6 rows to 8 rows when they started growing. And we do a lot of service calls, and they broke down in the fields and can't go. They'd call us, and we'd go out and get them back to going. The farmers, they call on us quite a bit over the years, and we always been here to serve. Like I say, we fixed many of things for farmers. We do a lot of work for the other people that serve farmers, such as a co-op and food stores and stuff like that. I like the challenge of doing different jobs. It's always doing something different every day. I like to take on a big job that I've never done before just to see if I can do it, and most of the time I can. But like I said, that's the main thing I like about welding, is a different challenge. And working for the farmers and like we do, it's something different every day. Whether it's working on a planter or building a trailer or welding on a dozer, or we never know what we're going to be working on the next day. Or building duct blinds, pits, pipes, and that's what I like the most about it. You never know what you're going to be doing.
It's all but impossible to fabricate something out of nothing unless you have an unhitched imagination. With a spirit-empowered imagination, a man can discover that there's freedom to create what is necessary to meet a need. After all, that is the very definition of ministry. Ministry is the meeting of needs. And within that framework, one can discover craftsmanship is right there among it. Craftsman, one who connects the past to the future using a skill set. One who realizes that the work he does is never for him or about him. John Lennon said that art is only a way of expressing pain. The harsh reality of creating beautiful things is that pain and struggle often accompany the calling required to produce the art we admire.
What would you say, and I may or may not use this, what would you say, if you could say, like most people probably don't understand this about the life of a welder, like something they would just never know about welding and the life of a welder, like what would that be?
Getting burned a lot. You get burnt a lot. You get burnt in different places. The worst place, I think, is when you get a spark in your eye, which don't hurt going in but coming out a couple of days later, or get one down in your eardrum. That really hurts. It burns, but it'll go away in a couple of days. Getting one in your boot is really bad because you can't really take your boot off. You just have to stand there and take it till it quits burning.
Craftsmanship refuses to be reduced into the simple acquisition of learned talent, not according to the Word of God. We all tend to forget that before God was anything, He was a creator, speaking form and the form of life into existence, life emerging out of nothing but His creator heart. According to the Word of God, craftsmanship comes straight out of the blueprint of the master craftsman's heart. Now the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "See, I have called by name Bezalel. I have filled him with the Spirit of God in wisdom, in understanding, in knowledge, and in all kinds of craftsmanship, to make artistic designs for work in gold, in silver, and in bronze, and in the cutting of stones for settings, and the carving of wood, that he may work in all kinds of craftsmanship." Walking among us are people oblivious to their greatness. Their talent, their art, and their gift to society is simply not in their line of sight. Not because they cannot see themselves as great. They do not see themselves as great simply because they do not see themselves. All around us walk the greatest of people, master craftsmen, unaware of their irreplaceable importance to the people around them. Often overlooked in society, never overlooked by Jesus, for He was the one that gave us the new standard of greatness.